leadership um, member here in the Philippines, and how what's the update about myself. So again, this is not bragging, but this is just to I will be using a lot of illustrations later about my own life, about my own experiences professionally, about leadership, about growth, so that I can explain further why I have taken on this passion or advocacy about personal growth in the context, of course, of being used by the Lord fully, or in the optimal way. So, many of you know I'm an accountant by profession. I have completed my master management from UP Visayas. I am a career executive service eligible. Again, I'm sharing this with you because later on I will explain that growth has to be intentional, that growth has to be planned, and this preparation has brought me to where I am right now. So, a career executive service eligibility, for those who know, this is the highest eligibility in government. So you have the first level, the second level, the third level. So this is the third level eligibility of in government service. I'm also a registered financial planner and a founding member of Maxwell Leadership Philippines. This is why we are using the material of Maxwell. I am allowed to use this as a member of Maxwell Leadership Philippines, and it is our passion to share leadership principles, especially personal growth, to as many people as possible. So this is not paid, so we are sharing this especially amongst Christians and church leaders. Now, for my professional life, of course, I have been with both private and government. I started my career as a banker with BPI in Iloilo. Eventually, I became an officer of Banco de Oro in Iloilo also, and then eventually moved to government after 15 years of private sector um, engagement or employment. I transferred to government service as head of the hospital operations and patient support service of a DOH retained hospital. That's where, again, my leadership skill and my leadership experience was honed, and I was able to experience a lot of things, both good and bad experiences. And I'm going to share, I'm excited to share that with you in the context of this loss of personal growth. In 2017, I was accepted as the Chief Financial Officer or Chief Finance Officer of the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine in Alabang. That's why we are now based here in Muntinlupa. So I stayed in that institution for around 8 years. And last September, by God's grace, um, without knowing anyone, I just applied. I was accepted as the Senior Vice President for Finance and Administration Group of Credit Information Corporation. So CIC is actually a government-owned and controlled corporation. So this is not a lending company, okay? This is a GOCC, which is a very unique GOCC because it is 60% owned by government and 40% owned by the private sector. So we are one of a kind. So again, I'm sharing this with you so that I can share some experiences and some leadership insights from both my experience in the private sector, the government sector, as well as my ministry experiences as a pastor. I was a I pastored CBC City Outreach in Iloilo City for 10 years. That's 2006 to 2016. And then I am now being used by the Lord here in Muntinlupa in our house church here in Muntinlupa. I also was able to, I'm an OBCI alumni, graduate of Open Bible College International, Bachelor of Bible, as well as Master of Ministry from APIS, or the Asia Pacific Institute for International Studies. Again, these are not I'm not sharing this with you to brag, but I'm sharing this with you so that you will understand the context of my illustrations later on when it comes to personal growth. So, by God's grace, I have this, passion to grow. I cannot just stay as I am. So I need to learn more. That's why um, many years ago I became a registered financial planner. because I wanted to grow in financial planning as well um, as in leadership. So last year, I want to grow in leadership aspect. That's why I joined the Maxwell Leadership Philippines and became a founding member. All right, so much of the introduction. I will now proceed to the uh, proper. So this is a 15-week activity. I hope that you can be with us for the next 15 weeks. Although I understand that many of us would have to, some of you might have to skip some of the weeks because of some conflicts. That's understandable. Or maybe we will have to skip one Friday and then just schedule next Friday. We will have to announce ahead of time. So this is a 15-week. I'm excited to share with you. I have completed the course already. That's why we plan to roll it out to our fellow believers, especially ministry partners, so that you will also benefit from these lessons that we are about to learn. Now, there are only two questions that we need to ask if we want to be successful. And the first question is, here's the first question. Okay, so you don't need to answer so many questions, just two questions if you want to be successful in life. All right. Um, the first question is, what are you doing to develop yourself? Okay. So, all right. So that's a personal question. So what are you doing to develop yourself? So why start with yourself? Bakit tayo kailangan mag-umpisa sa sarili natin? Because we know that we cannot give something that we do not have, right? How can we give something if we do not have it? So the reason why when I was looking for a leadership group to join so that I can also improve my leadership skills, the reason why I joined Maxwell Philippines, of course, this is an international organization, was I was um, I was impressed by how Maxwell defined leadership. So I'm sure no, we have different um, definitions and ideas about leadership. But let me share with you how Maxwell defined leadership. Okay, again, this is from his books and from his teachings. So leadership or a leader is someone is a person of value. So let's start with the person himself. So a leader is a person of value who values others and who adds value to others. Okay, I've not put it here para we can allow it to sink in. No? So their definition of a leader is a person of value. So you have to be a person of value first. You have to invest in yourself because you cannot give something that you do not have. That means if everything rises and falls on leadership, the leader should continuously grow. The leader should be a person of value. So don't neglect yourself. We start with ourselves, not because we're selfish, not because we want to impress other people, not because we want to flaunt, or not because we want to be, praised or adored, because we want to add value to other people. So a person or a leader is a person of value who values others. So the reason why we are investing in ourselves because we want also to invest in other people. So we are people or a person of value who values others. So this is very I am working now with government, and alam naman natin na in government they have a totally different view of leadership. Leadership is about being the boss, being the being you command and everybody follows, everybody wants to please you, everybody flatters you, parang ganun, no? But the definition of leadership that I learned from this group is, yes, you're a person of value, so you invest in you because you value others and you want to add value to them. So that's the definition of leadership. Now, again, based on that definition, if we if we are a people or a person of value, then what are we doing to develop ourselves? So what are you doing to develop yourself? So can you answer that question? Okay, what are you doing to develop yourself? The next question is, what are you doing to develop others? So you see, again, no, the leader is not just about, is not just, in the business of developing himself. He's developing himself so that he can also develop other people. So um, it is important that you develop yourself and you develop others. So again, to be successful, you are not just to develop yourself, but you also need to develop other people. So in this second question, this is where ministry comes in for pastors and church workers and those of us who are um, doing the ministry. This is how we teach others, we equip others. This is how we um, teach other people. Okay, so teaching them from experience and from the things that we already have. Okay, so we share it with them. Now, for some people, it could mean a business. So for some people, they would use these values to develop others, but at the same time, earn from it. So there's nothing wrong with it. So for example, we offer this later on as a paid training. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that because you just, you invested in yourself. So nothing wrong with also monetizing the investment that you have for yourself. But again, in our case, no, we are not charging anything. This is a free um, activity so that we can develop ourselves in return. So we are expected to develop others. So again, we just want to level off the expectations that we do not stop with ourselves. We invest in ourselves, and that's not the end of everything. We invest in ourselves because we want to add value to other people. Okay, I hope that's clear. So the question that we have now is, what is your plan for your personal growth? So what are you doing to develop yourself? But do you have a plan? So many people, many of us actually do not have any plan. So we are what we call, we grow accidentally. Ibig sabihin, uh, we do not intentionally plan how to grow. Say, for example, we entered into a new year. We're now 2026. So 2025, we did not plan how to grow, how to improve ourselves, how to be a better pastor or preacher or individual. So what we now have is we want, no, to have a plan for 2026. So that's it. Next slide is, personal growth is not a natural process in most people's lives. So we will look at this because we will first be discussing what we call the growth gap traps. Bakit tayo hindi nag-grow? Why are we not growing? What are the growth traps? Okay, the first growth trap is the assumption gap. Okay, I think you have that in your notes, no? We assume that we will automatically grow. So, ibig sabihin, when we were little kids, di ba? We were growing physically. So eventually, there's a point in our lives now we stopped growing physically, and then we went to school, completed elementary, high school, and then probably eventually college. After that, nung tapos na tayo, graduated from college, many people have stopped growing already because they think that's the end of it. And we are assuming that we will just automatically grow. But that is not true. So that's what we call the assumption gap. Now, there are things that are automatic, but there are things that are not automatic. Say, for example, um, getting old, growing old is automatic. So this year, we will add another year for our age. Kung ilan yung age mo ngayon, definitely you will add another year sa age mo. But it doesn't mean that you have grown. Okay? So uh, growing old is automatic, but becoming better is not automatic. If you want to be better, you need to be intentional. You need to have a plan. Okay? So the next thing is the knowledge gap. The knowledge gap is I don't know how to grow. So ibig sabihin, some people just don't know how to grow. That means they don't grow. I mean, they stop at not knowing how to grow. Ibig sabihin, since I don't know how to grow, then that's it. But again, we have so many ways to grow. That's why we have this webinar, we have this training, so that we can grow. We will know how to grow. And later on in our um, session, at the latter part, we will have practical ways on how we can grow this year. Another gap is what we call the timing gap. Okay, so trying to look for the right time. May hindi pa siguro right time, not yet, no? So parang hindi pa tayo aware. We are not yet convinced that this is the right time to grow. So that's why there's a timing gap. Okay, I hope I'm not being very fast, because medyo I only have 30 minutes, and after that we'll have sharing and some activity. But I just want you to realize about the law of wait. I need to check first. Is my audio okay?
Yes. Yes, Pastor.
All
Yes,
right. Thank you.
Pastor. We hear you, Pastor.
Okay. Sorry, I need to check once in a while. Okay, I need to. Okay, so um, sorry for the. No, I just need to fix my screen. Kita niyo na ba yung screen? Not yet. Okay. So the longer the time between your decision to do something and actually doing it, lesser is the possibility that you will actually do it. So this law just tells us that if you continue to delay, even if you want to start something, but the longer you delay it, the higher the possibility that you will not actually do it. So ano pong ibig sabihin dito? Simple lang, no? When you want to do something, you have to do it as soon as possible. Because once you delay and delay, the possibility of starting it also diminishes. Okay? So that's why there are ideas, no, that even if you're scared, even if you're unprepared, you just have to uh, jump into it. Ibig sabihin, just start it. No? Don't wait for, the best time. Sometimes you just have to start doing something. And later on, I will explain the the most important thing that I want to get across, or that I want to happen in this session, is to get you started, to get all of us started. If you haven't, if you don't have a plan yet, if you haven't started yet planning for your growth, then the most important thing that can happen tonight is that you will start your personal growth. Okay, that's the most important thing. Another thing, another gap is the mistake gap. So we are afraid of making mistakes. Takot tayo, no, na magkamali. So we don't take risks. We don't you know make bold moves because we are afraid of making mistakes. And alam ko we have people have different risk appetite. May mga risk averse, ibig sabihin they don't want to have anything to do with any risk at all. It's understandable. Some of it is due to their upbringing. Ganun sila pinalaki. But if you want to be successful, you have to take risk. I'm going back to my professional experience. I started from the bank, and then I did not remain in one bank. Okay, after 11 years of being with BPI, I made a bold career move to move to BDO, because I think I can grow there. I can professionally grow in that bank. So when you make career moves, it's not easy, because there are the what if I make a mistake, what if I make the wrong move, And then, of course, a major move was for me from going from private to government. That in 2012, no, government was not yet that attractive. Medyo mababa pa yung mga sahod ng government employees and so on. But I just after much prayer, consultation with spiritual leaders, consultation with my family, and if I'm convinced that this is God's will, I just jump into it. So parang I take risks, no. That's why eventually I moved to RITM. I became the chief finance officer of RITM, and now another bold move last year when I um, quit. No, I stopped and transferred to another government agency, which most people normally do not do. Okay, they're too afraid, they're too comfortable, they're too convenient where they are. So I think for me, it's not just about of course, I need to also grow professionally. If there's a way that I can increase my income for the ministry and for God's glory and for our needs, why not, right? So it's not just jumping into the dark na wala hindi mo alam, just jump ka lang. It's about making calculated risks, moves, and of course with much prayer and with much guidance. So there's nothing wrong with making mistakes, actually. In fact, um, this preacher, no, asked this question: what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? Okay. Sige nga, no? In our personal lives, what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? Siguro there are things that we want to do but are just too afraid to do, no? To start doing. Later on, we'll talk about the fear factors in personal growth. But one of the things that um, I emphasize is mistakes are better than mistakes. What's my reason for that is my reason for that is I would rather make a mistake, make a wrong move, and learn from it rather than, being haunted by the what ifs for a long period of time. Kasi if you make the mistake, fine, okay, you get disappointed, but the most important thing when you make mistakes is that you learn from it, right? You learn from it, you grow, um, you grow through it, and you use it as a stepping stone so that you can be a better person. So there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. We all make mistakes, right? Sino ba sa atin ang hindi nagkakamali? But you know, what is worse than making a mistake is the mistakes, the opportunities lost. Ibig sabihin, you just continue to wonder, what if I pursued that? What if I tried that? What if I took the risk? No? So forever, ganun na lang, no? You will dwell in the what ifs questions. And I don't want that, no? So uh let's not be afraid to fail, okay? Let's be afraid not to try. That means many people just leave it to chance na, sige, if I grow this year, fine. If I don't grow, no worries. That's why we don't grow. This is especially true with leaders. Yung mga pastors natin with leaders. Because, di ba, they're saying that everything rises and falls on leadership. So, I have a question. If you're leading an organization, a church, or something, do you expect that, do you expect that organization, that ministry, that organization will grow if you as a leader are not growing? Okay? Ulitin ko, kung ano man, God has entrusted to us some a church or a group or a family or an organization. If you're a leader in one way or another, ang tanong ko, if everything rises and falls on leadership, do you expect something, your organization, your church, your ministry to grow if you are not growing as a leader? Di ba? Something to think about, because if we're not growing, how do we expect the group, the ministry that we lead, to grow as well? That's why it's important that we grow. Another gap, okay, growth gap, is the perfection gap. That means kailangan, no, the best way before I start. We are trapped in perfectionism. So there's no such thing as perfect situation. So if you're waiting for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity, the perfect whatever, it's not gonna happen. So for people who are perfectionists and waiting for the perfect opportunity, they may not be able to grow. Okay. The next one is the inspiration gap. I don't feel like doing it. Ibig sabihin, parang we are hindi lang fuel empty, no? Sa car, but our motivation is already empty. Parang wala tayong motivation. The reason why a lot of people um, have no motivation is because they depend on others to motivate them. Di ba? Parang come on, motivate me, encourage me. Wala kasing nag-encourage sa akin, walang nagmo-motivate sa akin, wala nagta-challenge sa akin. If we have that attitude that we need other people to motivate, to encourage, challenge us, there will be a lot of time that we are not motivated. Okay? But if we learn to motivate and encourage our own selves, you wake up in the morning, challenge yourself, motivate yourself. No, don't depend on other people to motivate you. Um, do it yourself. No, you're alive. You wake up in the morning, buhay ka, another opportunity. No, it's time to motivate yourself. No, be the best that you can be. Parang ganun po, no, yung ang gusto natin mangyari. Now, there's a verse here. Of course, there's a time in David's life that he was very distressed, and we cannot have any encouragement from other people. And he did was to encourage himself in the Lord his God. First Samuel chapter 30, verse 6. No? I think this is very true. And sa atin who want to grow, the first person who should motivate us is tayo mismo. Okay? It's good to have encouragers. It's good to for other people to to encourage us, to challenge us, to push us. But what about if there are no one who will do that for us? Then we will not be motivated anymore. So might as well challenge our own selves. The major difference between those who do it and those who don't do it is those who do it just do it. Okay, yun lang yun. Uh, we all have 24 hours a day. Many of us have some people are more busy than others, some people are more have more time than others, but some people grow more than others because they just do it, while others, okay, they just wait for perfect time or perfect opportunity, so they don't do it. Okay. The next one is the comparison gap. So the comparison gap simply says, others are better than I am. So parang we look at other people, mas magaling yan, mas may ano yan. So parang we become discouraged, we become inferior, we become, so I cannot reach that level of success or that level of growth. But you know what? That's a that's not the right mindset. A growth mindset is yes, there are other people, there are better people, but those better people can challenge me to become better me. So instead of looking at them and looking at yourself, I'm so small, they're so big. Why not use it as a challenge? Na I can be like them. Okay, I can also one day be like those people. I can grow. I can work hard. In fact, I also in Maxwell trainings that I attended. If you're the best person in the room, you are in the wrong room. Because if you're the best person in the room, you cannot grow anymore. Okay, you find a room where you're not the best person so that you can still grow, you can learn from other people. So, it's a matter of attitude, no? Hindi lang yung parang titingnan mo yung self mo and then adopt that victim mentality, that mentality na uh, mas magaling talaga sila. I cannot grow anymore. But when you use it as a challenge, as an inspiration, na I can be like this person, okay, by God's grace and with God's help. Another gap is the expectation gap. You know, sometimes, di ba, alam natin expectation versus reality. This is what we expect, but the reality is, it's not what happened. But you have to realize, no, this is what I realize in my own professional life and growth, that nothing, growth happens when there are challenges in your life. It's the way you actually look at those challenges. I remember, no, I had a difficult time when I was with the hospital in Iloilo, legal battles, political thing happening. But I almost asked myself and asked God, no, Lord, did I make a wrong decision? Did I make a wrong move? Should I just have stayed in the private sector? Kasi nga, it was a that difficult moment, 2014, 2015. But I realized later on when I moved to, especially when I took on higher leadership responsibilities in RITM, and even now, no, as SVP of CIC, I realized that those challenges prepared me so that the challenges that I'm facing now, I already know how to deal with them. Parang, okay, I've been here, I know, so I know how to go about this because I've experienced the worst. So, if you have met challenges and conflicts and changes, no, it's really about just a matter of perspective and attitude. Just learn from it. No? Um, grow through it. You don't just go through it, but grow through it. That's what we say. If you have pain, trials, don't just go through it. Grow through it. Okay, grow through it. Learn from it because nothing happens by accident. God placed you there. God wants you to experience it because there are valuable lessons for you to learn, and it is to prepare you for you know uh, bigger tasks ahead. So expectation gap. Next. So this one, many people say, "Oh, swerte-swerte mo naman." No? In fact, some people will say, "Oh, napakaswerte mo. You end up parang some people will say that's a high position already, SVP. The next is president already." So uh, that's not luck. I realized that when that opportunity happened last year, that there's a vacancy in that GOCC, yung sa, I was saying, telling you when there was a vacancy. Okay, I did not know anybody. I just look at the vacancy. Maybe it fits my qualification. When I looked at it, it's because of the growth, the preparation that I have been through. So God allowed me to finish my master's. God allowed me to attend a lot of trainings and preparation. I was able to equip myself with government procurement and so on. So pasensya na, medyo mabilis yung but what I'm saying is that is not luck. Okay, when the opportunity comes, okay, you don't go to an opportunity, you grow an opportunity. So I always remember our pastor when I was growing up nasa Calvary, Pastor Felasol. Um, success is when you are prepared, preparation plus opportunity. That's the formula for success. Because even if you're prepared but there's no opportunity, so it cannot lead to success. But here there's something else. No, preparation, that means your growth, how you prepare yourself, your attitude, the opportunity that will come, and the action, doing something about it, is not actually luck. It's what we call success. Okay, so kailangan talaga nating mag-grow. That's why we came up with this webinar to challenge us. No, what area you want to grow in, okay, that's totally up to you. So you cannot change your destination overnight, but you can definitely change your direction overnight. So this could be the first day of the best days of your life yet. Okay, when you can become better and you can grow to become the best that you can be for the glory of God. Okay, so again, we are a person of value who values others, who adds value to others. That's a leader. Okay, now how do make we make that transition to intentional growth? So hindi lang accidental growth, but intentional growth. Or maybe the better question is, how can I grow this year? Okay, so first you need to ask the big question now. Okay, address the elephant in the room. Ika nga, no? Where do you want to go in life? Okay, kasi if you don't have any goals, if you don't know where you want to go. You're going anywhere. Okay, okay, parang whatever happens, no? What direction do you want to go? What's the farthest you can imagine going, and how long will it take? So these are the big questions. Of course, no. We are Christians here. We know that these are questions of our life here on earth. But of course, we know that everyone, when we do evangelism, we push people to ask the big question: where do you, where will you spend your eternity? Okay, that's the big question. Okay, for eternity, where will you spend your eternity? Because eventually death will come, and okay, that question will just have to be answered. But kaya you have not only for eternity, but what about the remaining days? I remember um realizing na sabi, this is not, I mean, I just learned this. Sabi is what's between B and D. Okay, what's between B and D? So letters B and D. 'Di ba, letter C. So B actually is stands for your birth, okay? And D stands for your death. So what's between B and D? Letter C. C is the choices that you make. Okay, what happens between birth and death are actually based on the choices that you make. So, what do you want to do with that dash in between your date of birth and date of death? So, better ask the big questions now. Okay, next is you have to do it now. Okay, that's what we said kanina. No, na the goal for tonight is to get everybody started. Okay, you may forget a lot of things that I have discussed. You have your notes there, but again, we have to start. The best thing that would happen is to get everybody started on your growth plan. Where do you want to grow this year? What kind of growth do you want to happen in your life? You just have to do it now. Okay? The longer you wait, the more chances that you will not do it. So kaya you have to do it now. So even in salvation, di ba? I am a pastor, so I have to insert this. The moment you put off, you procrastinate, you put off the issue of salvation, you'll never know. It may be too late. I mean, di ba? We don't know it's when death comes, or when death is going to happen. So we encourage people, you have to do it now. You have to trust Jesus now. You have to trust Christ as your personal savior now. But when it comes also to a personal growth, that's applicable as well. Okay? We don't have to wait. You know, um, sabi ko kanina, getting old or growing old is automatic. 360 days from now, 2026 will end. If we're still alive by that time, then we have probably grown a year older. But the question is, have we become better? Okay, have we grown um, better? Okay, so that's a different question. It's not automatic. So the next thing is face the fear factor. Okay, fear of failure, fear of trading security for the unknown, fear of being extended financially, fear of what others will say or think. Di ba? If you are an environment, later on we will study the law of the environment. Na you should be in a growth environment. If people are in your environment are expecting you not to grow, better get out of that environment, di ba? Kasi kung if you're in an environment na grabe ka naman, grow. Because if you are growing, listen to this. If you are growing, guys, moms and sirs, you will outgrow almost everybody you know. Because not everybody intentionally grows. Okay, they just leave it a chance. Accidental growth. So if you intentionally grow this year, believe me, 5 years from now, you'll be 5 years older, but you will be better. You have grown, and you have outgrown most people that you know. So fear of pushing others away, so on. No? So these are the fears that we face. That's why we don't grow. One of my favorite verses in the Bible is Joshua 1:9. Okay, be strong and of good courage. So actually, fear is not a characteristic of a believer. Okay, because we have God on our side. It and it all boils down to motive. Why are we doing this anyway? Guys, Why are we doing this? Why do we want to add value to ourselves? Is it because we want to get the glory? No. Just like what I've said about leadership, we want to become people of value because we value others and we want to add value to them. Then what's stopping us from growing? Okay. What are we afraid of? So it's just a matter of choosing faith over fear. Okay, so if what's stopping us is fear, then as Christians, then we should exercise faith rather than fear. Ano ba yung nangingibabaw? Fear or faith? So change from accidental to intentional growth. This is what we want to happen. That this year, 2026, it's not just going to be an accidental growth for all of you here. It's going to be an intentional growth. Where do I want to grow? So, hindi lang yung by chance, but by intention. So, I think in your workbook, you have this activity. We're not going to go through this because we are running out of time, no? But you can measure whether you are in the accidental growth side or you are in the intentional growth side. I just leave this to you. It's in your workbook. No, you can measure, assess yourself whether you are in the accidental growth side or you are in the intentional growth side. So this is what we want to happen. You know yourself. This is what we're going to learn next time. Know yourself to grow yourself. Okay. So when you know yourself, you have to be honest with yourself. Okay, I'm leaning towards the accidental growth, and I need to work on my intentional growth. And that's what we are going to talk about next. Here is a sample of an intentional growth plan. No? So parang this is the application of what we have been talking about so far. So an intentional growth plan. So first, very simple, make a commitment to intentionally grow. Okay, uh, say that to yourself. No? Sometimes self affirmations, telling yourself, preaching to yourself is also effective. I want to grow this year. I will grow this year. Okay, I will grow, not just leave it to chance or accident, but I will intentionally grow. Okay, um, so make that commitment to intentionally grow. The second one is make the commitment public. That means don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with a group of people who are excited about your growth, who have the same passion for growth, who are like-minded. Of course, if people are not happy with your growth, then better not spend a lot of time with them because they will just pull you down. Okay, because a shared commitment is a strong commitment. In the next 15 weeks that we will be together, I hope a shared commitment will also develop within this community that we have now, because we seem to have this, being like-minded. We attended this course for what? Okay, we're not here spending 1 hour of our weekend or Friday night, just to have fun, right? But siguro we got interested in joining this training so that because we want to grow, and somehow we are with like-minded individuals. So a shared commitment is a strong commitment. So if that commitment is shared, then we can be accountable for it. Other people can help us pursue that commitment. Identify the areas that you want to grow, okay, as a person. So, saan ba ako mag-grow? No? It doesn't have to be many. In fact, say for example, you start with one or two, or at least two, no? But not more than five. But because of course you have to invest something in that area so that you can grow. Let me give you an example. It could be an area of choice and an area of skill. Say for example, many years ago, not many years ago, like 5 years ago or 7 years ago, I decided to grow in the area of government procurement. Okay, I really want. I'm not a lawyer, so it's a law that I have to study because I want to, be an expert in procurement law. But I'm not a lawyer. So what I did was just to study. No, if I'm given the task to become a back chairman of our go, I want to study. So everything I look at every problem. So every day there seems to be an issue. There seems to be a problem. It forces me to study about government procurement. In 2023, I think there was an opportunity for me to become a recognized trainer, a GPPB recognized trainer. I have undergone a month-long training program, tests after tests, and then eventually I became a GPPB recognized trainer. So you have to invest. I remember the last time I had a training. I was the trainer na to the office of the president. I was training lawyers about the procurement law, and one of my participants was um, now no is now the chief legal presidential legal counsel. Okay, the one who replaced Enrile. No, I mean, come on, who am I? I'm not a lawyer teaching these seasoned lawyers about procurement law. How did that even happen? How did I get the credibility to teach them about procurement law when I'm not even a lawyer myself? It's about growing in that specific area. Okay, it's about learning as much as you can, no? Not shying away from the from problems about procurement, but learning, using it to gain more knowledge. That's why now I was able to train them already about procurement. So area of choice, maybe it's about um, attitude, leadership. Okay, it's about our spiritual life because, di ba, many of us continue to please pray for my spiritual growth or please pray for the spiritual growth of this. Of you don't grow spiritually accidentally, guys. You don't. So even in our spiritual growth, can you grow spiritually if you're not disciplined in your Bible reading, in your prayer life, in your church attendance, in your ministry participation? Of course not. Even spiritual growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you invest, when you intentionally want to grow spiritually. So, for example, no, this year I want to more be more passionate in Bible reading. So, what can I do? And so on. Also, area of skill, area of choice. So, yeah, I'm running out of time. Sorry. Invest 1 hour a day in these two areas. Meaning, invest. No, what? How do you do it? Preparation, practice, reflection. Preparation, practice, reflection. Okay, all over again. No? You just invest 1 hour a day in these two areas that you want to grow in. Next, invest 1 hour a week on reflection and writing on what you're learning. Okay, so um, many of us have not done this, no, in our entire lives. Yung invest 1 week, 1 day, 1 hour a day, no, in that area where you want to grow in, and invest 1 hour a week to reflect and write. This is how when John Maxwell was speaking about this. This is where when he started writing. So he wrote a lot of books, but when he applied this in his life, that's when he started. He started with bullets. Now, what did I learn? What are the things that I learned this week? Bullets, and eventually expand it. Okay, and share it. So if you have a Facebook account, rather than posting things like that, what about sharing how you grew, no? What you've learned that week? So something to think about. And then share your growth with someone. This is very important. Now, of course, you have to share with this growth with some people who are thrilled with your personal growth. Do not waste your time spending it with people who are not thrilled about your growth. Again, they will just pull you down. So looking back, no, in my personal life, again, it's only by the grace of God. I did not show all those credentials. It's something to you know to brag, because a lot of people have contributed to become who I am right now. And those who sincerely want me to grow are those who, when I share what I've learned, what my plans, they will pray for me, they will encourage me, and they will just do that. So I hope it will happen in this community that we have right now. No? Now, you share your growth with someone, preferably with your spouse, okay? Because I think, your spouse would, if you have a spouse, by the way, uh, you encourage each other to grow, in those areas, and yeah, just grow. So guys, this is my last slide for this lesson. Do you really want to grow? Could 2026, the year 2026, be the year, a breakthrough year of growth for your life? Okay? When we look at 2025, we cannot do anything about it. Tapos na yung 2025, tapos na yung other years, we cannot do anything about it. Maybe we have just grown older, but we have not gotten better. But this year could be different. We have 350 days ahead of us. So if we do it intentionally, okay, again, my point is to get you started, to get all of us started. It's a lifelong process, and we can start today by the grace of God. So even the Apostle Paul, no, he said, I reach forth unto those things which are before, reaching forth, pressing toward the mark, okay, pointing to new victories, reaching more heights for the Lord, and becoming the best possible person that we can be for God. Okay, so that's personal growth. So sorry, I went over time now, but next time we'll be talking about the law of awareness, and I think we will be grouping ourselves into. I'm sorry, I went over time in into groups, no? And this is the questions that I'd like for you to discuss in the very short time. What are you doing to develop? Remember, these are the two questions that are important for success. What are you doing to develop yourself? And number two, what are you doing to develop others? Okay, I'm gonna stop talking now. Back to you, Mama.
All right. So thank you very much, Pastor Elmer. So as we see, we are a bit 2 minutes left for our time, but we will still have our breakout room just to launch that breakout room reflection and so that you can meet your grouping. So these are the questions that you would have. All right. Welcome everyone. I know that your time is short and you've been raptured suddenly to
Oo,
the
nabitin si Pastor ito.
Bilis.
You've been raptured suddenly to the main room. So we only gave you 10 minutes for the breakout room. For
Ah,
those
okay.
for those
Nag-intro
who
pa
have
namin
not
Pastor Ed.
spoken and those who have not shared, you can share again next week. During the breakout room, but we are so sorry if you've been raptured in the middle of your sharing. Kung sino man ina, so sorry, Gid, because we have timed it only. So, and we would also like to apologize that we are over times for now, but I hope that you are all blessed. And for this meeting, can I ask the question, are you blessed? Would you like to come back next week? Pasibla, wala sing may mag-ano, no?
Definitely. We appreciate this. Thank you so much to you
All
and
right.
Pastor
So
Herrera.
I would like to we didn't have any questions in the chat box. So we encourage you that if you have questions in the middle of the session, please just go ahead and write it in the chat box. But there's one comment, not a question, but one comment from Pastor Helvig in the chat box, Kagina. And he said, let me read that 15 laws of leadership is more interesting if we have instruction and interaction through a class like this. 2 years ago, I really want to digest this law, but I find it boring because I only do it alone. We really need this kind of learning environment of which we could share and give better ideas in the area of growth as leaders. Thank you very much, Pastor Helvig. And those who would like to comment,
Thank
if
you
you
so
have any
much.
remarks of if there's any sharing that you would like to share with us, you can always put it in our group in the Google Classroom. I'm monitoring everything. So please do it and be proactive in our training. So for uh that, we would like to end tonight. Thank you very much, all of you. But first, we would like to take a picture. So we'd like to ask our admin, Sir Steve, to take a picture of us. This is our photo opportunity. And please show yourself if you can. If not, then we would understand. But we would request that we can see your face. Sir Steve, are we ready?
Yes
Smile na
po.
kami. We are smiling already.
Thank you po. Okay na po.
Tapos na?
Thank
Po.
you.
Sabi 1, 2, 3. Wala na po.
Okay, again. Ulit po. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. Wait lang po. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. Okay
All
na
right.
Thank
po.
you.
So
Thank you
before
so
we
much.
end, our reminders kanina says that please don't worry if you have problems in doing our activities or submitting all that the submission that we ask or for your attendance. Please don't worry. Just tell us if you have a problem in attending, if you have prior engagements or whatever. We understand because we also might have emergencies and appointments later on that we might even cancel the classes. So, in advance, no, we are already saying that because we also have some schedules that we cannot really let go or just pass it. So please go ahead and tell us. Reach out to us. We are ready to help you anytime. So open your microphones and say bye to everyone. Thank you, especially for
Bye bye
those who have
everyone.
Thank
stayed and
you.
Thank you
opened
so
up.
much,
Thank you so much, everyone.
So
Bye.
Elmer.
see you all
Bye.
next
Thank
week.
you. Bye
Thank you
po.
very much.
Bye,
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Good night.
We will
everyone.
turn off our
Bye
Zoom in
everyone.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.